Okay, well, there you go. Now let's bring in Matt Towery, our pollster, who also correctly predicted the Democrats' defeat 6 nights before the election on our very show.
I did. Every once in a while I get lucky.
And we're talking about the Democrats here. What is it going to take to recover from what has happened after this election? What needs to change for the Democrats?
Well, I ran into some very prominent Democrats really the night after the election, the former ambassador among them. And this person's very close to the Clintons. He said, we've got to find a way to win back the white working person. And that's who they lost, and that's who turned out in droves. The white, blue collar, I hate that term, working individual who used to vote Democrat, voted for Barack Obama last time. They're going to have to do that by probably changing their leadership and their direction. And that's why you see the turbulence going on in the House right now on Capitol Hill.
So who would you suggest for the Democrats? Dean, Ellison, somebody else?
Well, you know, I think probably in terms of their leadership, it's hard to say right now. I think they need to look more at their leadership on Capitol Hill. And Nancy Pelosi has been a very, very strong leader. She's raised a lot of money for a lot of folks in the House. It's going to be hard to knock her off. But Tim Ryan is sort of a Rust Belt type candidate. He's challenging Nancy Pelosi to be their leader in the House. That's where it all starts. The DNC is not as critical right now because they are, quite frankly, just trying to raise money to pay off incredible debts that they'll have after this thing is over. They won't have much to do with electoral politics for quite some time down the road. But as far as the leadership in the House, House of Representatives, Pelosi's got a battle on her hands. They have put it off, and I think they're going to have to look at someone like Tim Ryan, who is a Rust Belt candidate, who represents that area, is a little more moderate and might appeal more to those white working collar voters that they lost in this election cycle.
And as far as the Democrats go, can they lose even more ground coming up in the 2018 election? You
know, Marissa, it's been my experience as a pollster and also as a political advisor and one-time candidate and office holder that midterms are usually not very kind to the office that's in power, the president that's in power. A lot of times we see some slippage. We oftentimes see even realignments take place midterm. So we don't know yet. Depends on how well Trump performs. I will say this, though. The Democrats have got themselves right now shoved over to a far left position, just as they accuse the Republicans of being to the far right. And in the middle, you have these people who are choosing. And right now, they chose to go with, even if you consider Trump to be far right, they chose to go that direction in aligning themselves. So they have quite a challenge ahead of them over the next few years.
Do they have a good bench, Democrats?
I think they have a good bench, and what they don't have is they don't have a good bench that's been allowed to stay out there and be at the forefront, because you had Debbie Wasserman Schultz for years as sort of the spokesperson for the Democratic Party and also serving in Congress. That obviously has not worked out for them. They have a bench, but they got to develop it, and they've really got to, just like the Republicans, everyone always said after they lost in 2008 that they needed to moderate and come to the middle. Well, maybe that didn't work out so much. They've got to go one or two ways. They've either got to moderate and come to the middle, or they got to go hard line to the left with a Bernie Sanders-like approach to politics. They can't stay where they are because that isn't getting them their votes.
Matt Towery, thank you for your time, as
Sure.
always.
Absolutely.